Hi, I'm Darin Butcher for Darin's Desk, and it's an interesting one. We've just had 60 Minutes on the weekend, and it's a controversial topic on people's lips. So watching through the video over and over and just looking at where they're actually highlighting and the different experts and form experts they've got in different areas. And they believe, one of them said that they feel that the Sydney market will fall by up to 40%. Well, it's an interesting one because generally, as I've said before, when Sydney get a sniffle, we get the flu. So that would mean that normally we lose 4 times to 5 times more than what the Sydney market would be. Means the Central Coast market will fall by 160 to 200%. Not possible, we know. So what do we expect and what's actually taken place? Well, in the real world on the Central Coast, we've seen the market change in some areas by 5 or 10%, in other areas by 10 or 20%. So we have seen a change, and it's a great time for buyers to take advantage of these changes that's there. What we do know is what comes down does go up. So real estate does do the curves as it goes along, and we know that we've been in an up market for a while. But what we also know is that interest rates are an all-time low. What we also know is the banks are starting to stiffen up on their lending, have changed from interest only and trying to swap everyone over to principal interest. What's that do for you? Well, it makes it a little bit harder to borrow, which means that it is a good time, if you can borrow, to be buying property because other people are struggling with it. Will banks stay that way all the time? Well, I don't think so, because there are the fat cats that are the bosses of the banks that do need to make their $1 billion profit for the banks, so they make their $1 million in actual income for them by bonuses. So is that going to stay that way? Well, no. I think they're just shoring up the fact that if the market does drop, they're trying to put themselves in a position that everyone doesn't foreclose. I think that's steady enough to know that that's going to be okay. And I do believe that banks will start to ease up a little bit on what they're actually doing so they can make their millions. But from your perspective, what a great time for investment properties. If you know the property market's dropped by 5, 10%, 15 or 20%, well, there's that money to gain. So if the market's going down, and we're sitting here at the moment and it could go down further, why not secure one now and also secure one as it starts to get closer to the bottom? Now, are we at the bottom? Who knows? Is it going to change? Who knows? But let's predict that it's not. There's money to be made here and there's money to be made there. And let's face it, if you make 5, 10, 15, 20% that the market's moved now in different areas, and you get that as a gain, because things always go back to where they come from, then that's a potential gain that's fantastic, plus the upside because it normally goes past that point as well. If it goes down further and you buy a second one, and you might make 25, 30, depending, if it goes down as far as they predict to 40%, and that gain comes back, well, you've got that as well. Why not take your say 10 now and 20 or 30 later, and add them together and have a huge gain rather than just make one gain and trying to predict where the bottom is. This is what I've seen in real estate over the time, because people try to pick the bottom, and what they do is they miss it. And by missing it, they end up paying the same price that they'd be paying today, but don't have the selection that's there. Now, at the moment, there is a selection of properties out there for sale, but there's also some great prices that are being achieved by some of the owners. So if you're an owner out there, it is also a great time to sell, because you're paying less in the agent's commission to sell it for you because the prices have come back a little bit, and less in stamp duty when you buy because prices have come back. Now, if you lose here, you win here. That's generally how it actually takes place. So I'm Darin Butcher. All of our team will actually talk to you about how you can make money in this fantastic marketplace. Either your heart flutters that things are terrible, or your heart flutters that things are going to be fantastic. And the way I sort of see it is, I'm a supreme optimist. I look at it like this. If you want to make money, come and see our team. We'll show you how to do it in this marketplace. It doesn't matter whether it's good, bad or indifferent market. We know how to make your money in real estate. I'm Darin Butcher, signing out.